and welcome to this YouTube video. In this video, we're going to talk about switch statement. So what exactly is a switch? A switch statement is just a way of writing if condition. It's a way of writing if conditions, but it's a different way. But in this case, we are going to be comparing one specific value to multiple possible outcomes. So I'm going to show you how exactly this is. So let's say, for example, we want to write a program that is going to ask a user to enter from 1 to 7. And then depending on whatever they pick, it's going to map that number to a specific day. So it means if they enter 1, it's Sunday. They enter Tuesday. They enter 3, it's Wednesday, and like that. So let's start. So I'm going to say int day, and then we're going to ask the user, we're going to say print f enter a day or enter a number from 1 to 7. Just going to put a colon here. So since we want to collect these inputs from the user, we're going to use scanf, and then I'm going to put quotes here and say %d and %day. So we're just here asking the user to input a number from 1 to 7. So here we're now going to use a switch statement. So we're going to say switch, and then we're going to pass in day. So what we want to do is that we want to compare day. We want to compare whatever the user has entered, different cases, to see if whatever user entered matches a specific case. So the way switch statements work is that you first type switch, and in here you pass in the value that you are trying to compare with other cases. Then you put this curly bracket. Now you are going to see what I mean by cases. So when I press enter, we're going to type case 1. But before I continue typing, I want to explain. So I said that we're going to be comparing a specific value to multiple cases. So we want to say that in the case where what the user enters from this scanf is 1, we want to execute some code below. So I'm just going to say in the case where what the user enters is 1, I want to print f. I'll say it's Monday, and then I'm just going to put a semicolon there, and I'm going to pass in another keyword called break. So what break means is that we just want to break out of the switch case. We want to stop entirely and leave the switch case. That's what break means. So the user just enters a number, and then we're trying to compare that number which was stored in. We're trying to compare it to say, okay, if what the user entered is 1, then print it's Monday, then break out of this. Now, what if it's 2? I'm also going to say case 2, and I'm going to copy this. I'm going to say it's Tuesday, TUES. I'm just going to copy this and do it to 7. Now, if you notice, you can't repeat numbers because we already have 2 here. So this has to be a different value. This is going to be 3, going to be 4. So here I'm going to say it's Tuesday, it's Wednesday. And here I'm going to say it's Thursday. Right? And then I'm going to do one more. Sorry, I'm going to do one more, which is 5. And then I'm going to say it's Friday. So now we've written this switch statement. So what we now need to do is we need to write one more final. So the last one serves as like a default. So I'm going to explain what this is. Default, I'm going to say printf you entered an invalid number. So what does this mean? In if statements, we have the condition inside the if block, and then we have multiple else if to check for a specific statement. So we can look at the cases as the else ifs in the if statements condition, and then we can look at the default as an else block in the if conditions. So the default means if all these cases were not satisfied, that is, if what the user entered wasn't 1, wasn't 2, wasn't 3, wasn't 4, or wasn't 5, then it means that a default, it means that it's going to fall to default value and it's going to print you have entered an invalid number. So since we stopped at 5, let's just say enter a number from 1 to 5. So if a user enters a number that is not in the range of 1 to 5, then it's going to say you have entered an invalid number. So let's try to run this code right now. And then the program asks us enter a number from 1 to 5. If we enter 0, it's going to say you have entered an invalid number, because this the C compiler went, when we ran the program, it went through each case. Case 1, it checked, did the user enter 1? No. Then it broke out. Did the user enter 2? No. 3? No. 4? No. 5? Then it came to the default value and printed you have entered invalid number. So let's say if I run it again, just like to run this again. It says enter a number from 1 to 5. So I'm just going to type 5, and then it says it's Friday. So if I run this again and I say like 2, it says it's Tuesday. So that is basically how switch statements work. They are just like another way of making comparisons. So you don't have to use an if else conditional or if else block. You can decide to use a switch statement if you are going to be comparing one specific value to multiple possible outcomes that value can have. So we're saying if the user entered 1 or 2, 3, 4, or 5, then we have possible solutions to each of those cases. I'm just going to put a break here. Forgot about that. So that is how switch statements work. So we have the switch keyword, then we pass in what value we're trying to compare, and then we put curly brackets and write the cases. And the cases represents the possible outcomes that value can have. Thank you for watching this video, guys. And if this was helpful, please leave a like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.